Yugi Bros!
What's up, my Yugi Bros? It's been a long time coming, but we're finally back on the dueling track. And of course, no less with new cards. New cards this time from the Twisted Nightmares starter decks that will be out in approximately 2 weeks as of recording this video. So because of such, we are back on the regular dueling mode with the 5/5 zones because we are playing cards that Dueling Book currently won't allow us to play in the speed duel. And that's why our skill cards are Link monsters. Now, bear in mind, I haven't played too much since Trials of the Kingdoms. Actually, since before Trials of the Kingdom. So I'm not too familiar with the newest cards from that set. But I will do the best I can to keep catch up as fast as possible. And obviously, we're playing cards from Twisted Nightmares as well. So I'm a little bit more behind than most. But I'll do the best I can. Today we're going to bring you my old burn deck against normal monster beat, the EFR Turbo. We've changed a few things. First off, we're switcherooing real quick. We're going to set our Blast Sphere. We're going to set Zoma the Spirit and Floodgate Trapple. Let's talk about Zoma the Spirit, guys. Special summon this card in defense position as an effect monster. Zombie Dark, level 4, 1800 attack, 500 defense. This card is also still a trap card. If this card is summoned this way and destroyed by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the monster that destroyed it. Very powerful card, especially in burn, especially in 4,000 point Yu-Gi-Oh! Also 1800 attack, that's pretty big in current speeds. I think Gearfried and Gilgarth from the new set are the only two things that rival it. So they're gonna pass with. We're gonna pass with that. They're gonna summon Armored Zombie, because that is a level 3 or lower normal monster, and they're gonna swing into the Blast Sphere. And now they know they're playing burn. Switcheroo didn't give that away. We're gonna draw and pass. We could use Switcheroo, but I think we're fine. We got enough stuff. So they're gonna draw in here. They're going to lose their Armored Zombie to our Blast Sphere, and they're already at 25. Oh, that's right. We didn't actually lower our life points there real quick. All right, so now we're good. Now we're good. Another Armored Zombie. No monster to deal with this time. This time is going to swing in for a direct attack. We have Zoma, but we're going to try to play it a little bit more cocky. We're going to get a little ahead of ourselves here. We're going to take the damage, and then we'll flip our Zoma the Spirit so that we can swing over and hopefully do more damage in the process. So at the end of the battle phase, it'll come out in defense position, or at the end phase, I should say, rather. And then we would go into our draw phase, standby phase. So we draw Nightmare Wheel, another new card from the Merrick deck. Activate this card by targeting one monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack or change its battle position. When this card leaves the field, destroy this card. During each of your standby phases, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. That monster must be face up on the field to activate and to resolve this effect. So this is basically Mask of the Accursed in a trap card, for those that don't know. So it's just strictly better. It replaces our spellbinding circles for sure. So we're going to just set that face down with the half shut and put Zoma to attack mode and get a little greedy now and try to swing in for a little bit extra damage. This thing's got beefy attack points. It's got really weak defense, but the upside of it being weak defense is you want your opponent to destroy it by battle. Go figure, however, they have order to charge, so this will get rid of the Armed Zombie to get rid of our Zoma. So we got a little too greedy. We could have just walled the 15 from before, but happens, it happens. So they're going to draw, they're going to set one and pass. We're going to draw into Gravekeeper's Curse. We're still playing this because even though we have a lot of ways to burn, I still like this card, just wholeheartedly straight 500 when it's summoned, and the way this deck works, now there's bigger ways to burn their opponent, so the 500 comes in more clutch, I feel. And of course, you can do the same battle gimmicks with it. We're not playing the trap that brings the Gravekeeper back anymore, though. No, we're playing Rite of Spirit. We just playing Curse, and that's it. So they draw Enchanting Fitting Room. Granted, they have to pay 100 for it, so that helps us out. They will hit 2 normal monsters off of it. We do have Floodgate Trap Hole face down, but we figure let's just deal with it. We have enough other resources to deal with their monsters. We don't need to flip their monster face down. So their Sonic Duck is going to go into swing, so we'll flip the Nightmare Wheel, but they have another order to charge. It gets rid of their monster. And now we kind of feel like maybe we should have flipped our Floodgate, because Nightmare Wheel didn't resolve fully. It just sits on the field dead. So we're going to actually take that 1600 to the face, putting us at 900. Then they're going to Jar of Avarice here. I understand it's the end of the turn, essentially, but you might as well throw in anything you can just to try to get something quick, even though it probably won't matter too much. Obviously, no reason to throw Enchanted Fitting Room back. That 800 is now dead because they're only at 4. The Draw Armor Zombie. Oh, speaking of which, Creature Seizure is a new card. It's like Creature Swap, but you need a normal monster. Each player gives their opponent control of one of their monsters. Controller's choice. You must control a face-up normal monster to use this, essentially. Creature Swap's not in this game yet. It kind of gives normal monsters an extra little buff, giving them their own Creature Swap, which is kind of cool. So I like that. We're going to finally use the other switcheroo effect here. We're going to get Zoma the Spirit. We have a half shut face down. We might as well burn that so we can set our Zoma. And we figure once Zoma is flipped the following turn, it'll be the zone will be free. We can use our mask. So they go into their main one and they summon another armed zombie. They're going to go into the battle phase here. Of course, it attacks the skill card. We're going to flip Zoma. Put this boy in defense mode. We could have floodgated again on the armored zombie, but we figured Zoma's enough to deal with it. So they clearly don't seem to have Night Beam in the main deck. They haven't hit it this far anyway. We're going to Mask of the Accursed, the Dragon Zombie. We're going to have Zoma swing over Armored Zombie for 300, putting them at 100. Go figure. But between between Mask and the Floodgate face down, we should be fine. They finally flipped the Eradicating Aerosol. They're going to pop everything here. They're going to summon this Dragon Zombie, but it's fine. We have Floodgate for that, so we can deal with that, no problem. The counter on, you can't see the counter that goes on it when it's flipped face up, but you can during the duel, so. And we draw Blast Sphere. So normally we could set this, but at 100 life points, we kind of just want to go in as fast as possible, but we know if we put it in defense, they're never going to swing into it. So we have a Floodgate anyway, we're fine. We might as well swing in, we know what it is. And if they had any back row that made it tough for us, I mean, I think we're okay. Yeah. They drew, Order to Charge, and they had the Creature Seizure. So, that is game 1 in a nutshell. Moving on to game 2. I haven't had too much playtesting yet, but I do have a bunch of ideas for decks moving forward. There's definitely a lot I have that I want to work with. Alright, Jolago. Let's talk about this card. If the only cards your opponent controls are face-up monsters with 1600 or more attack, this card can attack directly. We're siding one of this. We figure this whole deck is 1600 or higher. I was actually incorrect citing that in. Armored Zombie's 15. But this card's still pretty good. 1600 direct in a burn deck seems pretty good. Alright, so they're going to start with their zombie. They have a Night Beam in hand, they have a Floodgate, and they have a Dust Tornado. It's actually a really good start for them. And then they're going to pass. So we're going to draw. We normally would summon Jolago here, but it has to be the only cards your opponent controls have to be 1600 or higher monsters. They have back row, so that's no good. So we're going to summon Gravekeeper's Curse instead. Do the 500. We actually probably should have done the switcheroo here for Jolago first, but it's fine. We drew Blast Sphere. If we set a monster, at this point they know what we're playing, so they're not going to let that go anyway. We're going to activate Mask of the Accursed on the Dragon Zombie. We're going to set Floodgate and the Zoma and pass. I think we're in a really good position. They Night Beam, however, here. This is really strong. If they hit the right card, this is going to be a real problem. And go figure, they hit the Zoma. That actually really hurts. Because if we had flipped that, if we could chain it, so to speak, the Night Beam wouldn't destroy because it's not set. But go figure. Now they're going to flip the Dust Tornado, and they could hit the Mask here, but actually really good play on their part. All they have to do is hit the face down. To kind of just play through our board. And then the only thing we have is a Blast Sphere. So, I think that's a really good play on their part, actually. They have another monster, so it's not like the Mask's going to slow them down that much. So they'll get rid of our Gravekeeper, and we'll take a whole 800 to the face. I know the 4,000 life points. They'll fix it. Hold on. There it is. We fixed that, and we forget the mask. We do the mask in a second, I believe. Once I activate the other mask, I realize it. So we'll put the second mask. Go figure we drew the second mask, by the way, for Dragon Zombie there. Alright, now the life points are correct. And once again, it just feels like we're back in the driver's seat. They'd have to deal with both masks first before they can go anywhere. And we have a Blast Fierce when they swing with something else. Now, they drew Sonic Duck, but they assumed it probably was Blast Fierce. Good assumption on their part, so they're just going to pass. But that's exactly what we want them to do, because in our standby phase now, they have to take 1,000 damage between both masks. So we're sitting pretty. We're going to set Floodgate and pass. There's no reason for us to extend. We have literally no reason to. They draw Night Beam. They're going to hit the back row. So that's Floodgate. There goes our Floodgate. But again, like they're not really in a position to summon the duck, because if they know it's Blastsphere, like even if it's a bluff, like they can't afford to accept it being a bluff, because right now they're gonna take another 1,000, putting them at 1,000, which means Duck would have killed them the following turn. We drew Nightmare Wheel, so any third monster they summon, we're fine. Dice Foon's really the only thing I'd be afraid of here, and obviously they don't have that skill. So they finally summon the Duck, knowing that Blastsphere's not going to work with another face down. But we flipped Nightmare Wheel, because why not at this point? But even if we didn't, we would just go to our turn, and then we'd burn them for 1,000 because of the 2 Dragon Zombies. So, not too much to do there. Unfortunately for the normal monster deck, I think Burn was already dumb. And unless you have something like Dice Foon or like Mass Removal, like ASAP, like you're really struggling to beat this. And they just gave it Nightmare Wheel, Zoma the Spirit. They also gave it Coffin Cellar, which I'll touch on in another video, along with Lady Assistant of the Flames and a few other things like Boingen and whatever. Like the Burn already had enough. Does it need more? I guess it did. As far as normal monsters go, I think they're like slowly getting worse, obviously, because the concept is really cool, but you don't have a whole lot to go off of and work with. I could be wrong. We definitely have more testing to go through, and this is the first of many. So we'll see how that goes. But guys, as always, what'd you think? What would you like to see me do? Is there anything during Trials of the Kingdoms era that I hadn't really touched on that I need to touch on? Because I'm sure there is. I need to learn what Flintlock does. But as always, guys, comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Yuki Bros, and I will see you guys in the next one.